Hello, it's Bethany, and I'm so excited that you joined me today because we're going to talk about one of my favorite things to talk about. Before I start, I just got off of a webinar. If any of you are interested in doing business with the government, there's this company. So there's a bunch of companies that do um, consolidations, and they if you've tried to do anything with the government, you may or may not know it is a lot of data, a lot of opportunities, very confusing, and not easy to navigate. And there are software companies, services that have tried to make that process easier, but often they're expensive. And if you're just breaking into the government, you may or may not know that there's other ways to get the data. There are organizations like FPDS where you can get data, usspending.gov where you can get data, and there's companies that you can pay for. This is a company that you normally have to pay for a subscription to find sources sought, what programs are government agencies buying, to find just who's soliciting, who's awarding contracts, who can you reach out to, what other projects have they done, do they buy your services, are they looking for your services? And it's just a lot of data, and it's in a lot of different places. But this company got awarded an SBA 7J contract. Their job is to train small business owners so they are more competitive. There is a process in federal contracting and government contracting that they have to go through when they award business. And many small business owners don't know how to navigate that. And because of that, we miss out on opportunities that legally we should be able to have access to. So I would highly recommend, even if you're not really sure where you fit in the government, access to the software is free through this contract. In addition, you can also attend these trainings. And the trainings are short, but they're pretty good. They just had one today. If your NAICS code or your category is in education and training. So I put the link, it's up on the board. Leah, can you put that in, make sure that that's also in YouTube, not YouTube, in LinkedIn. Okay, so we're going to get started on why you're really here, which is talking about sales. And this is a topic that is super important for you to get. So I'm going to get into it, but definitely check out that link, save it, open it in another browser. Don't do it now because we're only going to be here for 20 minutes. So be here now and go there later. If you can't hear me, just real quick, this is live. Post in the chat if the screen is frozen or something's weird with the sound, because it's live streaming across multiple networks, I can't see anything. So I have no idea what's going on, but our team will work with you to try and get that resolved as quickly as possible. So you ready? We're going to get into it. Let me hide this link because it's kind of like not relevant right now. Okay. The number one reason that customers don't buy, consistently customers don't buy. Uh-oh, I'm in the wrong window. Let me go somewhere else. There's no connection. Literally, whether we're talking about rapport, whether they see you as trustworthy, whether they see you as credible, whether they like you or not, there's no connection. They feel like you don't get them. And sometimes we want to fix problems and people just want to hear, I know how you feel. And the deadly mistake that many of us make is the message comes from our minds, not our market. And when I say that with love and understanding, because I have been there many times. We have past experiences, past success, bias that we're aware of, and unconscious bias that we have no idea that we have. whether it's gender, race, socioeconomic, we all have bias, no matter how fair we try to be. We also do this thing where we make assumptions that can become our biggest fault and a deadly, deadly mistake. Even if you think you know your market, I want to challenge you to still stay here so we can go through this exercise together. No matter where you are in your business, this is a process that is super important for you to not go through now, just now by yourself, but to also go through later at some other point. And we're going to go through what's called an empathy map. And I'm going to make this a little bit bigger on my screen because I can't see. And there's a lot of words and I don't want it to be fuzzy. And you don't have to worry about taking a screenshot of this. You're going to get this PDF and you're going to get a blank one so you can do it for yourself. So this is the template. And many of you might have seen this or something similar. And I want to start in the middle because marketing is 90% emotional and 10% logical. So it's really, really important that you understand the fears and the dreams of your market, even if you're selling B2B. People get mixed up and they're like, well, I don't sell to people, I sell to businesses. No, you sell to people. People just happen to be at a business in an executive role or in a leadership position or in a purchasing position. But at the end of the day, they're still people. They still have fears. They still have dreams. So if you're thinking about your ideal customer and your construction, what's the fear of working with you? That you don't know what you're doing. I awarded you a project or a contract and you fail. And you're not failing. It doesn't matter if you're building a bathroom or if you're building a building. The risk to me is a fear. It's the thing that wakes me up in the night and I'm like, oh my gosh, I really, really like this company, but can they do it? Are they going to deliver on time? Are they going to be under budget? So when we're getting a new market, we're connecting with complete strangers. We're trying to build rapport. If we don't understand what emotionally drives their fears or their dreams, then it will be very, very hard, number one, to establish rapport at all, two, build up trust and credibility to the point that they feel like they know, trust, and like you. And understanding on a very deep emotional level what their fear is and what their dreams are. Their dreams are not to have to look at their phone at 9 o'clock at night and get a message that something's failing, that something's not working, that they can't get a hold of their IT vendor, so they don't know what to do. Things are crashing and burning around them. That is not a dream that they want to aspire to. Their dream might be, I just want to have dinner with my family. I just want to go outside and play ball. I just want to hang out with my friends for the first time in a year. There's very deep emotional, conscious and unconscious things that happen when we make decisions. And when you're selling, if you don't get this, everything is harder. And if you make assumptions and they're wrong, then you're done. You could know their problem. You could have the perfect solution. But if you're just this off in the message, they're not going to hire you. No matter how great the solution is, or no matter how big the problem is. If you're like, I know how you feel. I know you just want to know that your project manager has everything under control and you know that they're going to text you every 5 minutes just to give you a status update. Well, if you don't know that that's not what they want, they absolutely do not want to micromanage you, then you just lost them. Because in your mind, you're like, they want constant communication. They want to know before a problem becomes a problem. They want me to make sure that I let them know every 5 minutes what's going on. If that's not what they want, It doesn't matter how great you are. It doesn't matter how many times you've solved this problem. You lost them because they feel like you don't know them. And you knowing them is more important than the service you deliver, than the project success you've had in the past. It trumps everything. So this is an empathy map that basically asks you a series of questions. And your job is to see if you know the answer to these questions. What do they think? What do they feel? What are their fears? What are their dreams? What other thoughts or feelings do they have that motivate if they take action, if they just wait, if they don't solve the problem, if they just stick with who they have, even though they don't like them? All of these things show up everywhere. They show up in your marketing, they show up on your website, they show up in your brochures, they show up in your emails, they show up in your sales, they show up in your sales conversations, they show up in your presentations, they show up everywhere. What I want to challenge you to do is take time and go through this empathy map and answer these questions. Start in what they fear and what they dream, what they think and what they feel is the hardest part. What's going to motivate them to take action? Is it the dream of having this problem solved, or is the risk of not solving the problem? The lost cost, the lost time, losing people. You've got to figure out what motivates them to take action. But starting here and getting clear on these things will make everything easier. Now, what I'm also going to talk about is the top part up here, which is the goal. That's the shaded part that's like above the guy's head, like this part. This is a good place to start because it says, who am I empathizing with? Who am I trying to understand? Who's the person we want to understand? What situation are they in? What's their role in that situation? What do they need to do? What do they need to do differently? There's a jobs to be done framework that says if you're working B2B and you're solving a problem, the problem roots from some job that needs to be done. So instead of solving the problem, solve the job or solve the one thing that makes everything else non-existent or way easier. So what jobs have to be done? What decisions do they need to make? How will we know when they're successful? So these are goals. These are like working with us. We do these things, but you're not looking at it from your perspective. You're looking at it from your customer's perspective. The other thing that I want you to look at is where the guy is facing, like his eyes. I don't know if you can see my mouse or not. I'm like running around like a crazy person, but if you can't, it's forward facing his eyes. So what do they see? What do they see in the marketplace? What do they see in their immediate environment at work on a day-to-day basis? What do they hear others saying or doing? What are they watching? What are they reading? And this doesn't necessarily, if you're selling B2B, this isn't necessarily like they're a CIO and all they're doing is reading technology magazines and all they're doing is like looking at Oracle commercials or IBM commercials. That's not them. That's what they identify at work. But what do they do when they get home? Are they grabbing a bite and saying hi to the kids and then running back to their office because they don't have a chance to breathe? Is that what they see? It's probably not what they want, but is that what's around them? Do they take 5 minutes to scroll Facebook while they're fixing their sixth cup of coffee and they see all their college buddies and old coworkers like on vacation with their kids or traveling the world and taking adventures? What's shaping their world? What do they say? What have you heard them say? Or what can you imagine them saying? Because what they see and what they say can impact their decision, and it has nothing to do with you. Absolutely nothing. But it shapes their perception, it shapes their worldview, and it shapes how they make decisions. So, an example is I have kids that are picky eaters. And I work with a company called Easy Peasy, and they have these powders that are veggies, and they have no taste, but they're different colors. So if it's applesauce, I put the yellow one in. If it's spaghetti, I put the red one in. If it's something else, I can put the green one in. And I cook it in with the food, or I mix it in with the food. So if I have a picky eater kids that won't eat veggies, I know they're getting nutrition. They actually get more nutrition if they do that than our actual vegetables and fruit, because they don't have any nutritional value, and it mixes in. Now, if I go to them and say, "Who do you serve?" We serve moms. That's very vague. Yes, having a kid might be a prerequisite if you're trying to help picky eater kids. But if you're trying to go to them and you're saying, we serve moms that are tired of the battle of dinner time. They've spent hours researching healthy recipes or how to get your kids to eat veggies, and they've done all these different things, and they've spent an hour preparing a meal to make Brussels sprouts look like beds of gardens of roses of flowers, only for the kid to sit down and be like, I'm not eating this. So your mom is one meal away from throwing it in and going to Chick-fil-A. Like, she sees a house that's filled with healthy things. She sees people on Instagram and Facebook, and their kids are eating apples and raisins and carrots and all these things. And she's got kids that will only eat chicken fingers and fries. She's hearing her mother-in-law say, I don't understand why you can't get your kids to eat broccoli. I made you guys eat broccoli. It wasn't a choice. You're too lenient. You're not parenting well. You need to be more strict. You need to have a spine. All of these things affect if she decides to try yet again one more thing. So absolutely, social media, society, family, friends, what they see and what they hear in regards to other people's lives, in regards to comparing themselves to where they are, in regards to what they hear that they're being criticized on, they're not doing, they should be doing, they shouldn't be doing, all plays into your experience and engagement with that person. Not fair, but it is what it is. Let's go to the last part. It's behind the ear on the other side. It's on this side. What do they do? Oh no. What? You guys can't see the video? What do you mean? Hold on. Please hold. Maybe that's why my phone is buzzing. Oh no. Sorry. Please hold. Okay. Let me see what's going on. So, can you guys not hear me? Uh-oh. It's something with YouTube. Or sorry, it's something with LinkedIn. Hold on. Okay, so technical problem, specifically with LinkedIn. Let me see what's happening. It is not happening. I'm so sorry for you guys that are on LinkedIn. Leah, can you send everybody a message on LinkedIn that it is not working on LinkedIn? You have to send the link. I'm so sorry, you guys. Hold on. It's just sitting there and scrolling. Hold on. Let me send you the link on YouTube. Sorry. Gosh, it's such a pretty slide. Okay, so for those of you that are joining on LinkedIn, hold on. Sorry. Thank you guys for being patient. All my YouTube people. It's working on YouTube. Sorry. I don't know what's happening. So weird. But Leia, I just want to make sure you guys can see it on YouTube. Okay. No video. Yep. So, Leia, if you can just, I'm going to keep going. If you can just make sure that people see it on, thank you. I try to be present and ignore my phone when I'm presenting. And little did I know we were having technical issues the whole time. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. Yes, I know. Now I'm getting a lot of messages. Go to YouTube. Sorry. Okay, I'm coming. Okay, so sorry. Technology. I love it most days. Okay, so with the empathy map towards the end, what do they do? This affects how they make decisions. This affects how hard it is to overcome objections. And so, perfect example. I've built websites for years, and websites, never a fun project. Like, I've never met a client that said, "Oh my gosh, I remember building my website. It was so much fun. Like, I just can't wait to build it again." Says no one ever. So I have to go into a project or a new client knowing that they've had a past bad experience, knowing that they've probably spent a ton of time and a ton of money and gotten nowhere, and knowing that they don't want to do anything with their website. And I have to overcome a massive objection from the past that had nothing to do with me. But because of the bad experience or the bad industry, it's like used car salesmen. Can we ever look at a used car salesman and think they're an honest person? Probably not. Because many of us go through that experience of buying a car and we're like, this is bad. This is just bad all around. So it's a stigma that I have to overcome because of somebody else's past bad experience. So what do? What behavior have we observed from them? What can we imagine them doing? What do they hear? All of these things impact your conversation and how hard or how easy it is to market and sell to them. So I know we've lost time. I want to get you guys out of here because I promised. Sorry, just checking. Sorry. Okay, thank you guys for hanging in. This is a book that Ray Edwards is a classic copywriter, like classic old school direct marketing. Remember when you would have advertisements in the yellow pages and the newspaper, and Ogilvy did a whole book on advertising, and there was this entire industry that was born around how do we connect with people, and 99% of that is copy. Yes, images are important, especially now where we're really distracted. So 30-second commercials were 30 seconds long because that was our attention span. There was all this scientific studies and research and data done around it. And it was done that way because it basically, that was how much attention span we had. Now we get 4,000 ads a day, and we have the attention span of 3 seconds. So we decide within 3 seconds if we're going to continue or if we're going to listen or stop. And that's what images matter, because that's what gets them to stop scrolling. But the image gets them to stop. The copy, what you say, how you say it, that gets them to continue. And it shows up everywhere. So my challenge to you, so this is a book by Ray Edwards, classic copywriter. Anything you buy from him will make you better. If you do what he says, it will make you better. So this is a book that I recommend. There's a resources page where I have the blank empathy map and the example with the template and the questions. So the action plan that I want to challenge you with, and Leah, if you can put the link in the, sorry, we're sending everybody a link. If you go to this page at marleynonami.com/sales7, this is our 7th session. It's almost over. And I want you to download it. And I want you to start this. This is not something that you can sit down at one time and finish. So I want to set the expectation right now that for some people, copy is so hard. But guess what? It doesn't have to be. If you can get your copy from your market, not your mind, then suddenly the burden's not on you. You don't have to come up with great ideas and great emotional copies and emotionally charged things to say, because your audience, especially if they're in pain, they can give you copy that'll make you cry. So it doesn't have to be difficult. And the more in touch you are with the problems that you're solving, what that means to their life, what it means if they hire the wrong person, what it means if they select the wrong company, what it means if they get excited because they think your product is going to solve it and it doesn't. It's just another letdown, another disappointment, another thing that doesn't work. So get deep on a very deep emotional level. Do your best. If you're getting into brain fatigue and brain fog and you're just stuck, stop. Come back, do something else. And when you feel in kind of a creative mode, there are certain cycles through the day where there's certain cycles that our brain just doesn't want to think. So that's good for like email and like uploading receipts and stuff like that, where you don't have to think. This work is best when your mind is fresh. I get a lot done late at night. And for whatever reason, that's the best time for me. So for something like this, where it's quiet, the kids are asleep, I have time, I have clarity, I'm not getting emails, I'm not getting phone calls. It's a good time for me. Figure out what that time is for you, and you do this in small chunks. Take one little block at a time. That's it. Just take one block and do that. And that's it. And then step away. So what I want you to do is I want you to fill out your empathy map. And I want you to validate that with customers or with prospects. Because here's an interesting question you can ask your customers. When you first get a new customer, you can ask them why they chose you. But more importantly, what do they think you're going to do for them? And more times than not, it is a very emotional statement. You're going to help me sleep at night. You're going to help our organization be the best it can be. Now, the thing that you're doing or the job that you were hired to do might be very technical, but what they answer can often be very profound. So if you have customers and you're closing deals or you're starting with new people, I would say, hey, I just want to ask you a quick question. Why us? Why'd you hire us? Oh, because of this and this and this. So what do you think? What are you expecting that we're going to deliver? Or what are you expecting is going to happen? Oh my gosh, if this works, I can actually spend time with my family every night. Who wouldn't pay for that? Like, what's the value of that? You cannot put a price tag on that. That's the power of the message coming from your market, not your mind. So do the best you can with these questions, and then go to a customer that you know or that you trust, that you feel safe not being the expert, and say, hey, we're really taking a hard look at who we work with and what we do. And I just wanted to ask you for your feedback. Sometimes customers will be like, oh, yeah, absolutely. What can I do? What are your fears? What are your dreams? Don't start with that one. That's a big one. Start with other ones. Like, what do you see on social media, or how do you compare yourself? And like, these are kind of deep questions, and they might not even know where to start. They might be like, what do I see? That's a good question. Give them time, let them think about it, and you'd be amazed what you get. There's other ways too that you can do social listening. There's this thing called Amazon. And there's this thing that we started to do where we just ramble and rant and leave these massive long reviews when it comes to everything. So it's become this social currency that we look at, and we look at the reviews of complete strangers over recommendations from our friends and our family. But you know what that gives you? Copy from your market, emotionally charged copy from your market. It doesn't matter what you sell. There are books on project management. There are books on marketing. There are books on sales. There are books on food, diets, recipes, everything you can imagine. And there are reviews on most of it. Product, widgets, whatever you sell, they will tell you, I wish it would have told me this. I'm struggling with this. I'm frustrated because of that. All of those things are problems that you might be solving. That's okay if you're not writing a book. You're just looking for the people that are trying to improve their project management. And there are hundreds of project management books. That's all copy. That's all your market. That's all their frustrations, their hopes, their dreams. And they'll be more honest on an Amazon review or in Quora or in Reddit. Facebook is hard. If you're doing B2B, it's hard to get things on Facebook and LinkedIn. They're not honest there. They show up with the version of themselves that they think is approved or society wants or they should be. But if you want honest, raw feedback, there's tons of it on the internet. But if you have customers or if you have prospects, validate it with them. And I bet you if you ask some of these questions to your prospects, nobody else is asking them that. They're like, why do you want to know my fears? Why do you want to know my dreams? Because if I can't add value to your life, what am I doing? Well, you're building a building for our company. Yeah. But managing that has to affect your personal life somehow. Like, it has to. So I just want to get to know you. And I want to know that I'm helping you have a better life, not a worse life. So that's all I got. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your patience and your grace. If you are watching this, and because so many of you were connected on LinkedIn and didn't see anything on LinkedIn, I'm sorry, but tag me in the question. If you have a question, let me just check real quick. If you have a question, I'll stay on for a few minutes because I know many of you didn't even get over to YouTube until later. Hold on. So if you have a question after the live stream is ended, which is soon, then make sure that you tag my name so I know that you asked a question. Otherwise, it just gets lost in a sea of social media feeds and I don't see it. So I don't want you to think I'm ignoring your question, but if you don't tag me, I don't know the question is there because it kind of like goes into the social media ethers. A question came up about if I don't know who my market is, then where should I start? Um, so this is a perfect example. The Easy Peasy that I told you about, they have multiple markets. They have vegans because it's vegetables. It's all vegan. They have picky eater kids and picky eater adults. It's like picky eater kids grow up to be picky eater adults. They have people that are trying to switch from like whey protein to pea protein. So gross. They have people that have texture and taste diseases or diseases that impact the texture and the taste of what they eat. Didn't even know. But the market that is experiencing the most pain were their parents, the parents of kids. And this is why there's deep psychological reasons why people become vegans or why people want to switch from whey protein to pea protein. But parents saw dinner time every day as they were failing. They were fearful that they were raising children that could be unhealthy, that could have diabetes, that could have heart disease, that could have high cholesterol, because it's really easy in the United States to eat poorly. It's more expensive to eat healthy and it's more costly to eat healthy. But on a deep, deep subconscious level, every day was a reminder to a parent of a picky eater, I'm failing. I'm not doing the one thing that I got to get right, or I feel like I have to get right. And it doesn't help that social media and you have all these like, oh, my awesome family, and yay, I'm adulting, yay to parenting, and you see them eating salads. Well, guess what? Not every kid does that. Not every kid is ever going to do that. That's okay. But to feel like every day you wake up and you put your best of the best forward, only for your little kid to come in and be like, no, it's enough to send any sane adult into a full meltdown. So there were many markets that they could serve, and they will serve all of them, but you have to choose one market that has the biggest pain. We also refer to this as like the bleeding neck problem. So if you can imagine someone's in a battlefield and you've got the guy that's been shot in the leg, it's a little graphic, the guy that's been shot in the leg and the person that literally, and it's okay. It's like a graze. It's not the worst. Yes, it hurts. Sorry. But you've got this other person over here that an artery has been cut or exposed or whatever, and they are bleeding from the neck. If you don't stop the blood, they will not be here. Who of your markets that you could serve has the biggest pain? Bleeding in the neck problem. If you look at all of them equally, someone is hurting more than others, whether it's getting them closer to their dreams or further from their fears. There is someone that is way more intense than the other markets. The other way that you can look at it is, who do you know is educated on the problem and already knows? It costs a lot of money and a lot of time to educate someone. So who knows they have a problem? Who knows that there are solutions and they're just looking for the solution, or they're looking for the right company to deliver the solution? That's another better market. The last one that I would say is, who has spent time and money trying to solve this problem already? If they're like, well, I think I have a problem, but I don't really know if I have a problem, then that's going to take longer to sell them. But if they have said, I have spent countless hours and thousands of dollars trying to solve this problem, that's a better market than someone that doesn't even realize they have a problem. So those are kind of gauges. I hope that helps. Thank you. Those are kind of gauges that you can use to figure out who to focus on first. This empathy map is for one person. And if you have parents, that's a good question. Somebody said, if you have parents of picky eater kids, do you do one for both? Yes. Choose the person that makes the decision most of the time. If it's in a male-female household, typically it's the woman. It's the woman that does the grocery shopping. I'm not saying this because I'm being sexist. It's just data. It's facts. It's the woman that makes the decision on who they hire for a contractor. It's the woman that makes the decision of who's going to manage the contractor. Oftentimes, the woman has a say in the final decision, even if there's a man in the household. So 85% of households that have women-men dynamics, the woman makes the decision. So if it's a stay-at-home parent and it's a dad, their dreams and their fears are different. Dads are way less stressed and worried about failing as a parent because they got this. Like, oh, it's fine, buddy. Just take a bite of your broccoli and we'll be fine. We'll just tell mom you ate it all. That's what happens. So their fears and their dreams and what they see and what they hear and what they do are totally different. Even how our brains make decisions are a little bit different. Men still make emotional decisions. They still want to do the things. They still want to feel connected. But all these other boxes that you have to fill out probably are going to be different. So choose one of the two if you have two that are like in one household. I hope that helps. That's a tricky one. Okay, so I think we got all the questions. Again, if you're just watching this and you're behind because of technology, thank you for letting me know, and thank you for not leaving. But please tag me if you have a question. All right, thank you all. Sorry it ran over. Take care. Bye-bye.